Here are some things you'll need to know for the next quiz and for your final exam. An eccentric muscle contraction is the extending or lengthening of a muscle. So for example, during a bicep curl, when you're lowering the weight, your bicep is lengthening. The muscle is lengthening. Concentric contraction is the opposite. It's the flexing or shortening of a muscle. So during the raising phase of a bicep curl, your muscle is shortening. So that's eccentric and concentric contraction. Eccentric is the extending or lengthening of a muscle. Concentric contraction is the flexing or shortening of a muscle. Hypertrophy. Hypertrophy is the increase in size of muscle fibers. When you're doing strength training, you're tearing down the individual muscle fibers, and protein builds up within those muscle fibers, and this is what is called hypertrophy. That is the increase in size of muscle fibers. That's why your muscle increases in size when you work out. There's also another theory. It's called hyperplasia, where when you do intense workouts, you actually split the fibers in two. So you'll one muscle fiber will become two muscle fibers, and those muscle fibers can hypertrophy as well. So that's just a theory that is not completely proven. Atrophy. Atrophy is the decrease in size of muscle fibers due to lack of use. So for example, if your arm is in a cast or your leg is in a cast, your muscle is going to atrophy because you're not using that muscle. Atrophy also happens when someone has a disease like diabetes. Diabetes causes atrophy in the muscles, so a decrease in size of muscle fibers. We already talked about anaerobic and aerobic exercises. Anaerobic is without oxygen. Aerobic exercises means with oxygen. The agonist. The agonist muscle is the contracting muscle or prime mover. So when you are doing a bicep curl, when you raise the dumbbell, your bicep is tightening or contracting, and your tricep is relaxing. So your tricep during a bicep curl is the antagonist muscle. So the agonist is the contracting muscle or prime mover. The antagonist is the muscle. As the one muscle contracts, the other relaxes. So your tricep relaxes when you are curling for a bicep curl. Cardiorespiratory endurance is the ability of the heart, blood vessels, and lungs to deliver oxygen to muscles over a period of time. Sorry, that was my daughter making noises. Where were we? Cardiorespiratory endurance. So it's the ability of the heart, blood vessels, and lungs to deliver oxygen to muscles over a period of time. Cardiorespiratory endurance is also one of the 5 components of physical fitness. Range of motion is the full amount of movement allowed at a joint, moving a resistance through a given range of motion at one time. So it's the full amount of movement allowed at a joint, which includes all the tendons, muscles, and ligaments. Muscular strength is another component of physical fitness. It's one of the 5 components of physical fitness, and it is the maximum force a muscle can generate against a resistance. So this would, for example, it would be like your max. If you're doing a max for bench, it would be one time that you can do it. Or a squat, it would be one time that you can do it. So muscular strength. Percent of body fat is the portion of the total weight in your body that is fatty tissue. The components of physical fitness are muscular strength, muscular endurance, cardiovascular endurance, flexibility, and body fat composition. One thing you need to note when working out, your body needs at least 24 hours between exercise sessions to allow for proper recuperation. So your body needs rest after that workout. It's recommended that you do 8 to 12 repetitions when you're doing strength training. So between 8 and 12 repetitions should be performed per set. Another thing you'll need to know for the exam or your quiz, fat-soluble and water-soluble vitamins are necessary for building cells, aiding in digestion and energy release. So that's fat-soluble and water-soluble vitamins. A safe weight loss is 1 to 2 pounds per week. If you lose more than 1 to 2 pounds per week, it can slow down your metabolism and you'll gain weight faster. So a safe weight loss is 1 to 2 pounds per week. And the best recommendation for losing weight is things in moderation. Like not depriving yourself completely of certain things, like carbohydrates. Your body needs carbohydrates, so it's important that you have carbohydrates in your diet. If you deprive your body of that, then you're messing with your metabolism. So safe weight loss is 1 to 2 pounds per week. Another thing you'll need to know is the major muscle groups, and we went through these in previous videos. So if you're looking at your body, in the arms you have your forearm muscles, your biceps, your triceps. So your biceps run along the front of your arm. Triceps run along the back. Your deltoids or your shoulder muscles are your shoulders, right? Deltoids. You have your traps that are by your neck. You have your lats that run along your back. You have your abdominal muscles and your obliques that run alongside your abs. You have your pectoralis or pecs, your chest. You have your quadriceps in your thighs, the front of your thighs. You have your hamstrings in the back. You have your gastrocnemius, which is your calf muscle. You have your erector spinae, which are the muscle groups that run along your lower back. So those are the major muscle groups that you'll need to know. And just remember that the agonist is the contracting muscle or prime mover. So when you're raising a dumbbell during a bicep curl, your bicep is the contracting muscle. The antagonist muscle during a bicep curl is your tricep. Hypertrophy is the increase in size of muscle fibers due to working out. Atrophy is the decrease in size of muscle fibers due to lack of use. Like I gave an example, if your leg's in a cast, your muscle's going to atrophy. If you have some type of disease like diabetes, your muscles are going to atrophy. Eccentric muscle contraction is the extending or lengthening of a muscle. Concentric contraction is the flexing or shortening of a muscle. So these are the things you'll need to know for your next quiz and for your final exam. One more thing I'd like to mention is when you're working out, it's very important to drink enough water. So by the time you become thirsty, you are already dehydrated. So it's important to be hydrated during your workout. Also, stretching. Like I said before, dynamic stretching is great prior to a workout because it increases the blood flow to the muscles, which brings oxygen to the muscles. Static stretching is great for a cool down because it doesn't increase your heart rate and blood flow. It actually helps to slow your heart rate down, which is why it's good after a workout. Static stretching also helps to lengthen muscles and maintain range of motion, but also helps to bring your heart rate slowly down to a normal resting rate. So it's very important to warm up with a dynamic stretching. It increases blood flow to the muscles and prepares your body for the workout. Work out and then cool down with static stretching, which actually prepares your body for rest.